Hello, 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 and welcome to a Prog Reborn. My name is M. Kostler, and this is my progression style playthrough of Final Fantasy XIV. If you don't know what it means to have a progression style playthrough, you can always type in !intro into the chat. That should get you a link to the video description. That should get you a link to the introductory video where I talk about what it means to do this type of a playthrough. If you'd like to know when I'd go live for these streams, especially now since it's been a little off rhythm, easiest and best way is to just go ahead and subscribe to the channel. But you can also join the community Discord, !Discord. Chat gets you that link, that invite link to the community Discord, where I post go live notifications whenever I go live for one of these streams. And you can chat with other like-minded individuals who enjoy this type of content. Finally, last but not least, if you are worried about any sort of spoilers between where we are, patch 2.2, and where the current game is, which is patch 7.05. That means including Dawn Trail spoilers. Then this is your upfront warning that you might want to scoot on out, because I may or may not do additional warnings as they come up. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some Endwalker spoilers in what we're doing today. Though, honestly, now that I think about it, there might not be. But anyways, yeah, what are we doing today? I've been absent for quite a bit for these. Combination of two things. Combination of I've got something going on at the end of this week that I need to be prepared for, and I've also just been finishing out leveling up all my jobs on my main. So I should be able to talk about my feelings on those as we're doing this event here. But I did want to try to squeeze in this event before it gets taken down. Gonna get taken down, I think, early Wednesday morning. So we're pretty close to out of time on here. And I know tomorrow is weekly reset, so I'd probably be doing my reset on my main. But yeah, still plugging along with this. Can't plan on going the entire way through unless something really funky happens. But it's gonna be at my own pace. Not doing this for any sort of YouTube career or any sort of money-making thing. I just like doing this, and I thought it'd be cool to catalog it. So could end up with situations like I'm talking about, or like we've been through, where I kind of go incommunicado for a little bit. I got a train going on by. So with that, we can do The Rising. I did this on my main, but I mostly skipped through it on my main, except for parts that I think I wouldn't be able to see if it wasn't on this character here. Oftentimes for these sort of like large events, especially the Rising, which is sort of a remembrance event, they'll try to like weave in bits of the story that you've seen, but then also not include that, obviously, if you haven't seen that part of the story. And so I said earlier that there might be Endwalker spoilers here, but honestly, I don't think that there's going to be Endwalker spoilers here because this character isn't anywhere near Endwalker. Anyways, let's talk to the Wandering Minstrel. Rising to the call. The Wandering Minstrel seeks an adventurer both willing and able to help put the finishing touches to this year's Rising celebrations. Of all the coincidences, you will hardly believe it, but I was just this very moment reminiscing of the time you lent me your strength 12-month past. I guess I did do that on this character. I'm gonna have to look, because I'm not sure. I think the Rising event was the Phoenix Bird. I'll have to check. Maybe it was like one of the very first things that I could have done. Anyways. You see, I again find myself in pressing need of an adventurer's aid, just as I did last Rising. Oh, if only M were here, I thought to myself, and here you are. Well then, what do you say? Shall we clasp arms once more? My thanks. The matter is this. I have been approached by a lady named Ayoyo, who wishes to imprint her own inimitable mark upon the skies above Limsa. I speak, of course, of the fireworks that illuminate these rising nights. Learning of my contribution to the previous year's festivities, she enlisted me to her cause. Give me a second to check this. Cool. I can probably put this on vibrate. There we are. We already have the ear of the organizing committee. However, Lady Ayoyo has expressed a strong desire to consult with a storied adventurer before finalizing her proposal. Come to the Yellowjacken's guardhouse at the base of the Coral Tower and I will introduce you. Okay, yeah. I wanted to check. Do I have... I don't have the Rising mount. Maybe I'm misremembering what was last Rising. Oh no. Wolf Pup. No. No. None of these seem like that they're Rising related. This was Torgal. Maybe I just decided not to do it? That doesn't seem like something I would do. Or do I have it just in my inventory that I haven't used yet? I don't know. That's interesting. But he would say that I was there. It's probably been about a year. I feel like I started in November. Which is why I'm a little confused, but I might have made my character a little earlier than that. But no, I showed character creation on my stream. Maybe I'm just going crazy. Or maybe it looks at my entire what do you call it? My entire service account. In that case, obviously. But I feel like the other ones haven't shown that I've the other events in the game haven't been like, oh yes, of course. Lydia Yo-Yo, one storied adventurer as promised. Blessings of the 12 upon ye. My name's Yo-Yo, Cannoneer First Class with the Yellow Jackets. It's an honor to have you aboard. Did I mention that it is the Yellow Jackets who are in charge of this year's festivities? Not only in decorating of these fair elements in the streets, but in designing and constructing the fireworks that brighten the skies above them. Lady Ayoyo here is quite the savant in all manners of incendiary and explosive, and so does fall into her to formulate a plan for the display's crowning glory. Me and the other lads and lasses of the Cannoneers whipped up a load of lovely little drakes, snakes, and devils for the Moonfire Fair, but more of the same ain't going to cut it for the Rising. Because it's all about remembering those we lost in the calamity, isn't it? Thems and theirs deserve something a mite specialer than a bunch of old bangers. An admirable sentiment, I'm sure. It would not do for our ode to such poignant memories be aught less than memorable. Let us make this year's Rising one that the citizens of this fair realm will not soon forget. Took the words right out of me mouth, dearie. Thing is, having hardly set foot out of Limsa in all me days, I don't reckon I'm best placed to know what's going through the minds of the citizens of this fair realm. And so you would pick an adventurer's brain, one who has journeyed far and wide across the land we love, knows it and its people intimately. Yet before we call upon your particular wisdom, mayhap it would behoove us to seek out a wider range of opinions. Many and more look to the skies come rising night, and the thoughts that run through their minds are no doubt as diverse. Let us learn them. That sounds like a plan. Mind if I join you, dearie? Could do with learning some of these thoughts myself. Right then. Where's best to start asking around? Someplace a lot of outsiders gather, I reckon. How about we meet at the Aetheryte Plaza down in the lower decks? While you two are so engaged, allow me to continue our discussions with the organizing committee. I shall await you by the aft castle. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. So yeah, since we last spoke, I did finally get my hands on Monk in Dawn Trail, and I have to say, and I'm just gonna walk to this Aetheryte Plaza. I have to say, I very much like the new Monk. I might not be the best person to speak on like DPS affairs, but because I mostly like simple DPS, other than maybe Bard. Bard's not terribly simple, but getting rid of having to maintain the dot, the play pattern of new Monk, I can just switch over. The play pattern of new Monk with the stances that you need to do, and telling you explicitly to do, 2 snap punches and only 1 demolish. Stuff like that. That made me really enjoy how new Monk plays out. It's definitely pretty straightforward compared to what was before, and I haven't really looked to see if it still has that, that weird technicality where, certain frames per second values get you higher DPS in In reality, that amount of DPS is like 5 to 10 DPS over the entire fight. It's negligible. But just sort of casual playing around and just getting the feel of how the class plays or the job plays, I think it's great. I think the new monk is very, very good. And if I was forced to play melee over something like Bard or something like my white mage, monk would be my choice. Let's talk to Ayoyo. See them lights down Locker's alley, dearie? Decorations for the festival, they are. Every year when the streets are decked out for the Rising, the art fills with, well, all kinds of feelings. Sorrow, pride, regret. But enough about me. We came here to find out how the other folks feel about it. Let's split up and head down the alley and ask a few lively-looking customers each. Want a schedule here? So don't go asking every single soul you see. 4 or 5 should do ye. I'll meet ye down by the ferry docks when you're done. Alrighty. Welcome, welcome. What might interest you in this fine morning? Ah, information, is it? Well, if you really must know, the whizzing banging that fills the air this season always takes me back to the time just before the calamity struck. A great festival was held to celebrate the reformation of the grand companies. People were in the streets hooting and hollering and setting off fire sprouts, and all the ships in the bay, now bedecked in maelstrom colors, let loose their cannons. Seems so foolish now, knowing what soon was to befall us, but all that noise served a purpose nonetheless, drowning out the fear that ever whispered in our ears. My firm belief that the rising fireworks serve the same purpose even now. They present a vision of loveliness, of togetherness, that we might forget our fears and be given hope for a brighter future. Awfully eloquent for Swazbalet. Streets are full of life, sky is full of fire, the westerly winds filling our seafarers' sails as it does our hearts. I couldn't have picked a better time to come home. You're a sailor too, are you? Help with the fireworks, you say? Good on you, lad. I have a few memories of back then, if you've ear to hear them. I'm a merchant seaman, you see, always sailing hither and thither across the waves. Was just back from a trip to Ratset Han when the calamity struck. Everyone was looking up to the sky and that loathsome lantern that hung low in it. Like most folk, I don't remember much of what happened in the days before or after it fell, but I'll never forget those faces. And that's what I love so much about the fireworks. You see the same faces looking up, but this time with a smile. Reminds ye not only of the bad times, but how we got over them. Anything else to say? Of course, half the folk who were watching Dollywood back then ain't with us no more. But they'll be watching the fireworks too, and I reckon they'll bring the same smile to their faces as they do ours. Can you see them too, my love? You're involved with the fireworks and want to know what I think of them? Well, just now I was wondering if they can be seen from far out in the offing. You know. I see. The reason I ask is my husband is out there now. Meant to be back by rising night, but seems the tide didn't turn in his favor. I was so looking forward to the fireworks. I do hope that he can see them from where he is. We can share them together, no matter how far apart we might be. That's my only request to you, that you make the finale as bright and boisterous as you can. But all those who cannot be together, this rising might still share in its message. There are many like me who cannot be with their loved ones this rising, whether by chance or by tragedy. It is the fireworks that bring them together, so the louder and brighter they are, the better. Oh. Alright. Anything I can do for you? You're asking for people's thoughts on the rise in fireworks. Would have thought a great hero like you would have better things to do with your time. But I suppose that's what makes you a hero, eh? Helping people out whichever way you can. Well, I'm like most people, I suppose. Think of those I lost. My parents, most of all. Wonder if they're watching too. Swum up from the bottom of the ethereal sea to see what all the crashing and banging's about. It's complicated, I suppose. I feel sad they're gone, but I'm happy I'm not. And grateful to Baderon, saving me and so many others. If they are watching, I hope they can see me too. See that I'm doing alright for myself, and they might sleep soundly for another 12 months. I think she's normally here. No. I didn't learn this till long after he'd taken me in, but after the calamity, Baderon banded together some old allies from his mercenary days, and a few willing adventurers. They'd go round seeking out people like me who'd lost everything and try to put them back on their feet. I just made the job easier, drinking myself stupid and puking my guts out in his gutter. I should get him a little something by way of thanks. Boom, 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 boom. I think it was just 4. Maybe she said 4 or 5. Sorry to keep you waiting, dearie. So when did you find out? Same here. Was half expecting him, just like looking at the pretty lights. But it seems the feeling runs a lot deeper than that. The memories of the calamity still sit heavy in our hearts. The rising fireworks got some way to lift in that weight. So, any ideas for the grand display? What kind of thing do you reckon help lift those spirits the most? I definitely like the last one. Something that gives people hope for the future. Hope for the future, eh? That ain't a bad idea. Reminding folk that however dark the night, dawn is just around the corner. The rising ain't just about mourning those we've lost, after all. It's about remembering the struggles of those who survived to steer us to a brighter future. And that's it. That's what Limson needs this rising. Ships, cannons, departure salute. Not just for the fallen, but for those setting sail for unknown shores. A vision of the past and of the future. An whole bleeding armada filling Galadian Bay, lighting up the very heavens. Who wouldn't want to watch that? That's settled then. The minstrel's going to love it. He said he'd be up by the aft castle, right? I'll see you there. So thinking about the jobs in Dawn Trail, I think for tank, I think that, and I'm not going to go over every job, but I'm just going to sort of give my thoughts on the different roles that we've got. I think for tank, my clear winner is Paladin, which is weird. Warrior is still very, very simple, very, very easy, and very, very overpowered in casual content, in dungeon content, stuff like that. But Paladin is also extremely tanky, extremely hard to kill, extremely self-reliant, but it also has, what it gains is the ability to keep up your combo with range, plus a little more defensive capability. So that I feel like I don't have to like disrespect mechanics or something like that. As a paladin, I have plenty of options for maintaining my combo, maintaining my DPS rotation at range, which I think is great. Already talked about the melee DPS part. I think Monk is fantastic. If it wasn't Monk, I would say it's Viper. Even after the change, I think Viper is a very cool class, a very cool job that they added. For healers, I mean, it's White Mage. White Mage is the GOAT. I don't care how people think that it's boring. It's exactly what I want in a healer. Reactive healing, actually healing HP. I've had complaints about, what's the spell called? Divine Caress not being, or having Divine Caress not tied to Temperance. I would like them to be not tied to each other so that I have a little more mitigation as a White Mage, but it's not as bad as I was feeling that it was going to be at the start, because really, if you're really being a nitpicky about it, then you kind of want that healing potency with your Divine Caress. You could get a little bit of that healing potency. Pretty sure Asylum, I don't have it yet on this this character, but I'm pretty sure Asylum gives additional healing potency on top of just the heal over time. Maybe it's something that you get. Yeah, there you go. Not till 78, but by the time you have Divine Caress, you're gonna have this. So you want to get the 20% boost from Temperance, but you could get a minor boost from Asylum to work with the Divine Caress. I tried playing Astro. It still hurts my brain. It might be better when I finally get to Astro on this character, because I'll be able to, play it from the start and really get my understanding of when I should be doing GCD heals, when I should be doing OGCD heals, how to properly manage cards, stuff like that. But I tried bringing Astro into an extreme with like no real prep, other than like looking at a opener, but I felt like we were just dead. And I felt like I wasn't doing my job. And so, yeah. With White Mage, you just output so much HP. And it's just so simple and easy to understand. Versus Astro. I just don't get it. For the physical range DPS, I'm going with Bard. Though all three of them are totally fine. They're pretty interchangeable, really. I say that not in that they're interchangeable in like how they play, but you could convince yourself to take any of those jobs and it wouldn't really change the equation that much for like your party. Maybe if you've got like if you've got like a samurai or a viper, then maybe you could see bringing in a dancer so that you could have sort of a comp that is about heavily buffing a single player. But Bard is very, very good right now. And the playstyle, which I already enjoyed in Endwalker, is very, very much the same. So it's easy to keep back up with. And the magical ranged, Pictomancer is just extremely easy and just dumps damage. So it's hard not to just play Picto. And you don't have to be a res bot, which I feel like I'm locked into as a summoner, or especially as red mage. I like the play style of red mage. I like the rhythm of red mage, but I feel like I'm constantly having to be sitting there being like, okay, is it time for a res here? Do I have to switch off of what I'm doing to look for somebody to res? Do I have to be paying attention to when the healers are using their swift cast reses so that I can't be greedy and not do any reses? A Picto, both Black Mage and Picto, you don't have to put that into your equation at all. And Picto is just incredible. It's incredible damage. It's not selfish like Black Mage is. I think they'll probably, coming into 7.1, do some rebalancing to bring Picto in line a little bit more and hopefully bring Black Mage up, because it really doesn't make sense that Picto is doing so much selfish DPS on top of having a party buff, while Black Mage doesn't have the party buff and is kind of like in line with the Picto. But if I had to play something, Picto is dog easy, and it's really fun. It's fun because your rotation isn't really a rotation. It's kind of a priority system like Bard, which I really like in Bard. You're basically just spamming, for me it's Q, spamming your RGB or CMY buttons, and then trying to find a good time to repaint your muses so that they're available when their charge cooldown comes back up. You've got a decent amount of mobility, even for a job that has 4-second casts that they have to be doing. consistently. I just think it's a pretty cool job. I don't have to feel like I'm doing a math equation like I am with Black Mage. I mean, if I get off of the rotation any, I feel like with Black Mage, I've ruined the gameplay. I've ruined, you know, I'm gonna drop Enoki and I'm gonna I'm gonna have to go into Ice Stance early because my mana doesn't work out right. Though it's just dog easy. Like I said, I like dog easy. Anyways, back to the Rising. Let's see now. 1,500 weight of fire sand and 500 yalms from the shore. Okay, we're gonna need more ships. Our intrepid adventurer returns, and positively bursting with inspiration, I take it? I see. A traditional seafaring salute, not only to the memories of the fallen, but to the future fortune of those who follow in their wake. Most fitting proposal, I'm sure. Thanks, the both of ye. But our work ain't done yet. There's a lot needs sorting out before we can put this idea into action. So much to do, so little time. If you wouldn't mind helping us a little longer, dearie, I'd be forever in your debt. Let me know when you've got your loins good and girded. Display of grandeur is not merely a matter of crafting the fireworks proper, which shall require the cooperation of many great people, several of whom may be less than disposed to offer it. We who are about to set sail salute you. Hold on 1 second. I have this. What is it? It's graphic settings. Theme settings, other features. No. Not accessibility, so it must be in character config. Hide nearby players. Hide nearby players. Yeah. Cool. Yo-Yo asks for your continued assistance in seeing her plan for the Rising fireworks realized. Get a brushed up Kryl, who we haven't met. Right then, let's get started, shall we, dearie? The plan is we're going to line up an old fleet ships across the bay and have them fire a broadside into the sky. Before we go about finding our fleet, we need to get the plan approved by the organizing committee, and that means convincing Commodore Raynor. I'll take the lead, but ain't exactly got the silverest tongue. Not much experience nobbling with the higher-ups. If you two see me struggling, put in a word, won't you? Of course, milady. Your case is ours. Thank ye, me dears. Together, then, to the Coral Tower. Is there any job that I think needs help? I think it's only Dark Knight. And Dark Knight does not need help from. Well, you could argue that it needs help from on a mid-tier to higher-end content, but it really needs help in the casual content. TBN just doesn't really cut it. Oblation doesn't really cut it. You don't have the sustain that you do on other jobs. So trying to tank as a Dark Knight was, I felt like I was on the brink of death constantly, and I know as a healer I feel like I'm having to stare at a Dark Knight tank a lot more than I had to as a warrior. Obviously, warrior you barely even have to look at. Paladin also rarely have to look at. Gunbreaker is a little weak, but they have more sustain than a Dark Knight, who I feel like I'm really having to babysit. Last I had the privilege of meeting the Commodore was around the time of the Calamity. Been arrested for conspiracy to incite rebellion. Naturally, it was all a misunderstanding. Some other scurrilous soul had been singing songs of sedition. If not for Raynor and his relentless pursuit of the truth, it might still be lingering in the brig. He's a shrewd investigator who will brook no equivocation. Are we then? My nemesis. The chicken. I started in Ul'dah, so I didn't do a ton with Raynor, other than like a couple talks as a Marauder. Wanted to make the Rising display special, I can fathom, but the sheer scale of this proposal is beyond anything I imagined. Ayoyo, need I remind you that the first duty of the Yellow Jackets is the keeping of the peace? Filling the bay with ships will not only disturb the daily workings of the harbor, but is sure to foment agitation among the commons. Knowing this, do you still mean to persevere with this outlandish plan? I do, Commander. Every Lumensian heart, every Eorzean heart, still bears the scars of the Calamity. All that loss, that hardship, that struggle, it cut deep. But the Rising ain't just about looking to the past. It's about looking to the future, too. And if it's our duty to watch over folk, I'm on the straight and narrow, I reckon it's our duty to see him off on another year's journey, too. Well put. I accept that your intentions are pure, but what are the logistics? I trust you have a plan as to who exactly will be providing and paying for this fleet of yours. Yes, Commander. We're going to petition the Maelstrom for the flagship, and the rest from the Black Sails. Of course, one is wont to forget that those buccaneering souls remain bound to serve the Maelstrom in times of necessity. Lady Ayoyo would have us parley with the three great pirate captains and remind them of their civic duty, it seems. And that's right. The pirates answered the Admiral's call back when the moon was fallen. Fought and died at Cartno, same as the rest of us. And when they hear about our plan to salute all those who fell and all those who didn't, I don't doubt they'll answer the call again. I wish you all the luck in the world in recruiting those rogues to your cause. You shall need it. Very well then, allow me to arrange the parley. Should you succeed in this feat, you may consider all my remaining doubts answered. I bid you remember that you go to speak with pirates, lawless marauders all. Pray that you do not say aught to offend them, lest we find ourselves with a mutiny on our hands. I shall have the Maelstrom summon the leaders of the three factions to the anchor yard. Pray go there and complete your preparations. I think I just realized that he's wearing, I think it's the Azem garb. To parley with pirates. Truly, life is a succession of unexpected events. Cheers for sticking with me, lads. I hope I can count on your support in the next set of negotiations and all. Of course, my lady. Alas, I fear the captains, those far-famed scourges of the seas, will prove rather less biddable partners than Commodore Raynor did. While Roswin of the Sanguine Sirens may be swayed by emotion, Carvalane of the Kraken's Arms is of a much more mercenary mind. The executioners, meanwhile, value honor and glory above all else. If there is aught that unites them, it's a zealous spirit. Let us argue with passion that we might inflame theirs. If it's passion you're after, then I've got that in bleeding bucket loads. But I might need you two to jump in again, in case me tongue decides to tie itself in half-inch. Just say the first thing that comes to your heads, and I'll pick up after. Come then, dearies. Let's head over to the anchor yard and get this parlay started. Looking at the jobs again. Only other job that I think could use some help, but you're really not gonna get it unless they do a massive overhaul of the job in the patches, which they've done in the past. Is Summoner. It is dreary to play. I didn't play it much leveling because I leveled up through Scholar, but I have an alt that I take in every once in a while if I want to do more raids stuff, and they have Summoner basically as their only DPS. And while it's really good as just I want to be a DPS and I don't really want to have to think too hard about what I'm doing, there needs to be something that you manage in some way. Theoretically, you're supposed to be managing like your edgies, your eggies, but you aren't really. It's just sort of like the order that you go in, and once you get a decent understanding of the fight, it's you're just going through the motions. Ooh. We'll go through this and then I'll think about it again, because I didn't think about this. Thanks for coming. The reason we asked you here is the Maelstrom summons laid it out for us loud and clear. You want us to help you with Horizon's fireworks. And the answer's no. When my sirens fire a broadside, it's to send our enemies to the bottom of the briny, not to paint pretty pictures in the sky for drylanders to gawp at. We've better things to do. We've better things to be doing with our time. This is a rare occurrence to be sure, but I find my opinion aligns with Roswin's. Our time is precious, as I am sure is yours. Let's hasten to draw these discussions to a close. I shall put it bluntly, I see no profit in this endeavor from myself and my men, so unless there is anything else... Profit House, that is a great Carvalane should lose his nose for coin. Put the Admiral and the Yellow Jackets in your debt. Why, it's the perfect opportunity to forge a deeper bond with Rospin. I'm gonna go with the middle one. A debt of gratitude, perhaps, for providing the men and material for this pageantry entirely at our own expense. I saw no mention of the Krakens being compensated for our efforts in a material sense. Or am I mistaken? The sheer scale of the spectacle we propose would no doubt draw all the lords and ladies of the realm to gather in the city. Personages of high renown and deep pockets. Aye, and if they saw you lot working hard, working hand in hand with the Maelstrom, it'd do yon wonders for your public image. Folks who normally don't touch pirate with a barge pole would be queuing up to do business with you. I do believe you have a point, poorly phrased though it might be. To win legitimate business, one must project the image of a legitimate businessman. A sod your image. Sod anyone who's too lily-livered to trade with us. They can stick their barge poles up their backsides. What's in it for the sirens? You won't consider them customers, consider them your quarry. Joy to the masses. Carvelane's in, don't you want to be together? What are you trying to imply? I'd rather cut me arse off with a rusty cutlass than have to spend another minute in that pissant's company. Me and me girls are proper pirates. The sanguine sirens ain't all about the pirating life, though, are ye? You run almhouses for the sick and injured, and those with child, keep themselves busy with jobs such as come their way. Them's your hunters, and the folks who drawn to the city, the grand display, your quarry. I see where you're going with this. Get the girls to set sail, set up stalls, selling food and grog and the light, and they make a killing. Providing they had all the right permits from the Yellow Jackets. You're a shrewd one, you. Maybe I could lend them a hand myself. They do say the best way to a man's heart is through his... What are the executioners? There's no dishonor in linking arms with Admiral Merwib and the Maelstrom, surely. You, Yellow Jacket. I want you to tell me one thing and tell it true. This is Limsa Laminsa, the greatest port in all the realm. Find this fleet of yours without our help? You come here begging for it. Why? Because I reckon you're the ones who need the rising the most. The black sails only came together because of Cardinal. Could have upped to anchor and sailed off into the sunset, but no. You fought like demons on those cursed flats. You're heroes of yourselves and martyrs. The way I see it, it's only right that those that lost the most, they stood to gain the least, should be the ones to fire the salute to the departed. And a salute to the departing, too. The calamity changed the lives of you pirates more than anyone. If anyone should be celebrating new beginnings, it's those whose new beginnings already begun. So it's all for our own good, is it? I'm heading back to the Estelicia. Don't worry when you've hammered out the details of this display of yours. We'll see what we can do. Hi, Captain. Can't rightly say no to you now, can I? We lost a lot of good people back in Contino. Send them off with a bloody great bang. I will join you on one condition, that in your reminiscence of trauma past, do not make a shameful spectacle of yourself. Pray do not force me to restrain you again. I never force you to do nothing. Keep your hands off me if we want to keep him. If you want to keep him, you randy bastard. Quite the fragile flower, isn't she? Well then, I bid you adieu. My ships will not ready themselves. So what I was going to bring up, and I'm a little disappointed that I skipped through it mostly on my main, is I wonder if... So I know in a bit, Sickard will show up as somebody to reminisce with. But I imagine I'm not going to see him if I haven't done Endwalker yet. But I wonder if Sickard is the person who shows up representing the Bloody Executioners, or if it's just that person there, who I don't think is... I can't remember the name of the original captain. The one who's supposed to be sick. But I'm pretty sure it's not that guy. My hearty congratulations to both of you. It was my honor to play a supporting part, but it was your passion for the Rising that swayed them. And breathe. Gods, I was so nervous I could hardly speak. Thanks so much for chipping in when you did. Could have never gotten him on our side without ye. Right then, time to put the finishing touches to this plan of mine. Going to be wonderful, I just know it. Now, what about your reward? I've given it to the minstrel. You can grab it from him. New beginnings, lad. May the navigator's breath ever fill your sails. You did great service, my friend, for both Lady Ayoyo and for all those who love the Rising, myself included. For that, I shall be ever grateful. I expect it shall be still some hours before preparations for the grand finale are to complete. Hope we could wait together. While we wait, you could hear a verse that has lately come to me. It's a song of celebration, of encouragement for all those who sailed for unknown shores. Lend me your ears. And it's not Amon's gear, it's the Bard gear. Obviously. Greetings, warrior of light. This is a world that exists outside your reality. Could it be a dream? Flight of fancy conjured by your weary mind? Perhaps, or perhaps not. This is literally Yoshida. As opposed to the wandering minstrel. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Naoki Yoshida, and I have beckoned you here that I may express my gratitude. The road we have walked has been long and winding, full of perils and pitfalls, but we have enjoyed every step in your company. We hope that you feel the same about this last great leap. With every adventure we undertake, the longer the legacy we leave behind with us. Yet a lengthy history need not mean a foreshortened future. Many adventures yet await. We shall continue to chart a course into the great unknown, one that takes in all the diverse wonders this wide world has to offer, that your legacy might grow ever greater. To be certain, it would be a less trying task to sleepwalk ever onward down the same well-furrowed path, yet to venture down paths untrodden, believing in the bright and glorious future that lies beyond them, is by far the more rewarding. This is the gift that we wish to deliver unto you, the gift of adventure. And we pray with all our hearts that you will continue to walk with us. We thank you for joining us on this journey, heretofore and hereafter. I wonder if he writes it himself. Now the time has come for this vision to end. Time for your eyes to open from this waking dream. One cannot know what fills the hearts and minds of those who look to the sky this rising night. Perhaps you and I will see very different images in those explosions of light and color. But one thing I know for certain, that right here, right now, we look to the same sky. And though the paths that lay ahead of us may lead in very different directions, sometimes, someplace they shall cross again. I feel like I remember the last Rising, because obviously he did that last time, but I don't remember if it was on this character. It is almost time for the display to begin, the consummation not only of our labors, but of the thoughts and prayers of the people of this fair city. A salute for the departed, and for those who set sail into unknown waters. Many adventures yet await you, my friend. May the navigator's breath ever fill your sails. From eastern sea to eastern sky, the sacred sun ascends. The voices stir of wind, of waves, of ropes, of sails of friends, who, like the golden light of dawn that streams across the sea, yet set sunlit sail for foreign lands. May fortune follow thee. Her journey done, so sinks the sun below the western waves, and memories stir of friends of yore, asleep in watery graves. Let not our voices raised in song disturb your endless sleep, but join us in our chorus, and you dream among the deep. An excerpt from an ancient mariner's song, a prayer for the safe return of those who sail over the far horizon, and for the peace of those who sleep beneath those same eternal waves. It concludes with a wish that the voices of those whose spirits are stirred in anticipation of new adventure reach the ears of those whose adventures ended too soon. They might be united as one. A fitting sentiment for the rising, methinks. And so I offer you my own heartfelt wish, that even should your adventures carry you beyond the far-flung horizon of this wide world, you should meet once more in a 12 months' time and look up to the same sky together. Neat. You unlock the toy chest, yada yada yada. There are folks that we can wait for. For 11's sake. So I think they technically considered last year to be the 10th anniversary. Soft westerly wind blows across the anchor yard. Enjoy the sea breeze a while. You hear footsteps approaching, you turn and see. Right, so yeah, you don't, there is no fourth option. There might have been 2 additional options? I don't remember on my main. Go to the proprietor of the Drowning Wench. Inviting the old pal M. Here to beg the old bird for your guidance too, are you? Should all have said you and a hand in this year's fireworks. Not a bad job you made of them neither. You met Soldier down in Hawker's Alley, eh? I sent her to pick up some stock for the winch. You know what she brought me back? Only a bottle of bleeding Bacchus. Paid for it out of her own pocket, she did. Thank me again for saving her life. Don't know why she's so hung up about it. The girl's paid me back, and 100 times over with all her hard work over the years. A little bit bad accepting it, like... But, well, bottle of Bacchus is a bottle of Bacchus. Reckon it's you we should be thanking anyway. That marvelous display. All the ships in the harbor, the sky, the fire in the sky, it brought back a lot of memories. Some good, some bad. But every one of them well worth remembering. And we ain't done making them yet. You'll be off on your next adventure soon, if I wager. Well, you can't rightly be striding out on an empty stomach now, can you? Come up to the winch and we'll fill your belly. See the head chef of the Bismarck. Well, 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 I come to feel Limlane's breath on me face, only to find the fathomless bosom whispering in the ear of another. How you been keeping him? Well, I hear we've got you to thank for the rising display. The Yo-Yo's been singing her praises from the Fisherman's Bottom to the Coral Tower. What? Surprised I know her? I'm just a small place, lad. Hardly a day goes by when I don't see a yellow jacket or several in the Bismarck. Whether it's to sup on the finest food and wine this side of the sea, or to clap the irons of those who've tapped the cask a touch too thirstily. Suppose an adventurer like you might have noticed. Always coming and going as ye are, but stick around the city for a while and you'll see. Jackets ain't just axes for ire. True friends of the common folk. Yo-Yo was a retainer before the calamity struck, you know? Her master had a thing for fireworks. Every time they came back from their wanderings, they'd load her down with 100 weight of spouts and spinners they'd picked up from God's nowhere. Day and night, you'd see her drown in the market ward, beaming that sunny smile of hers at every passerby, trying her damnedest to flog the stuff. Enjoyed the work, I reckon, but then down the wood fell and she lost her master. Literally lost him. The way she tells it, it were as if the calamity burned a hole in her memory, and they fell straight through. Can't remember their face or their name. But she never forgot the fireworks. The amount of gunpowder that went through her hands over the years. She couldn't help learning a bit about making things go bang. An apprenticeship for the cannoneers later, and she was a yellow jacket. So when I heard they were the ones who'd been put in charge of the Ryzen display, I knew she'd be the first to volunteer. The Ryzen, the fireworks, they mean a lot to her. And as a friend, they mean a lot to me. So thank you. I wonder... I mean, I think the implication there is that she was a retainer for a warrior of light. But I wonder if the whole fireworks thing was something that you did with your retainer. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a play on you getting all those magic prisms and stuff like that. The Admiral herself. This is a coincidence. Rainer was just telling me the role you played in putting the display together. I'm sure all those who gathered in my city to witness it were as moved as I were. A salute to all those who set sail for new adventure. Shall surely resound in their hearts, and give them strength and courage in the years to come. A salute to the fallen too, was it not? Many more lost their lives on the fields of Cardinal. The men and women of the Black Sails, chief among them. I thank you for giving those who survived them this chance to put their grief to more productive ends. I thank you for giving the celebrations an unmistakable touch of salt, too. This year's rising was not merely in Limsa, but of her. I look forward to seeing how future host cities follow our example. But for now, let us focus on the present. I'm sure I have kept you from your business for far too long already, and I must return to mine. I must offer my prayer to Lim Lane and be on my way. Fare you well, Em. I wish you safe voyages for the year to come. May the navigator's breath ever fill your sails. What's the minstrel got to say? Many and more have come from far afield to enjoy the festive atmosphere of Limsa this rising. Now that your work is done, be sure to bask in it yourself. Just making sure that I remember to click on that thing. Yeah, I can't remember if there were 2 additional options or just the one. But I know there was one with Sickard. There might have been one relating to Stormblood, but I might just be misremembering. Anyways, gonna be a pretty short stream today. Not really gonna spend too much time doing anything else. So glad we got the Ryzen in. Got to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the remaining jobs, which jobs I think I enjoyed the most out of my leveling them to 100, and which jobs I think need a little bit of help. And yeah, again, it's gonna be pretty busy for me the rest of this week. So unlikely to have a second stream this week. Hopefully by next week, I'll be able to get back into that rhythm. Getting close to... Well, I think I already am Biss on my White Mage, but I do want to get that mount from the Savage tier. At which point I won't really be spending a ton of time on my main, so I won't be as sort of burnt out on playing. So I can spend a little more time on in progression here. But yeah. Also, they've announced the next live letter is going to be live at Tokyo Game Show. I think it's at the end of September. Pretty late at night. I hope it's on Friday. If it's on Thursday, I'm going to be annoyed. But if it's on Friday night, then I might end up just doing a stream where I watch it. Though, I might not. I do kind of enjoy watching like Mr. Happy stream as he relays the live translations from like the Reddit Discord and stuff like that. But yeah, that's gonna do it for me. Once again, thank you so much for watching. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like on your way out, I'd be greatly appreciative. If you'd like to know when I next go live for these things, like I said at the start, you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel or join the community Discord, !Discord. If you happen to be watching the VOD, you can always get any of those links that I talked about in the video description below. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see